What is up? What is up, everybody? How y'all doing? How are y'all doing on this beautiful, what is it today? Tuesday. This beautiful Tuesday evening. Thank y'all for being with me. I know I said I was gonna do this show last week, y'all, but honestly, this weekend was just not the best. Yesterday we had to lay my dear cousin to rest, so I did not have time to go live. And then I had a lot of stuff to do this weekend, so I couldn't do a show, but I'm doing it today. Before we get started, y'all know, please like the content. I mean, like the video, please share. Also, please subscribe to Stargazer Sports if you haven't already. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're like probably like 11 away. So if y'all could please help, just really share my content and put it out. Please like the video because y'all know that helps push my content out into the algorithm. And yeah, and also comment. I really love when you guys comment live, but I also like when you guys comment on the playback. So if you are watching on the playback, please leave your comments. I do have calls to action or questions for you guys to answer down in the description, which would be, what do you think about my candidates and who is your top defensive coordinator candidate for the Dallas Cowboys? But as we try to get some music, but yeah, this is going to be a fun show, y'all. I'm going to try to get this done with between an hour and 15, hour and 30 minutes. If I feel like I can't get it done, I'm probably just gonna have to save my number one candidate for a show all on his own because there is so I've done extensive research on every single one of these candidates, so it's a lot. It's a lot that I want to show y'all, but I just don't know when I have the time to show it all. Because I'm trying to be better with these lives and not do too long of a live because y'all will watch it. If I make it too long, I'm the only weirdo. I always say I'm the only weirdo that likes. Um, I appreciate that, JV. Thank you for that. But yeah, I'm the only weirdo that likes to listen to long ass lives. If it's 5 hours, I'm listening. I'm just kidding. Not no 5, but 3 hours. I be listening to long lives, y'all. But anyway, let's get straight into the content. You know what I'm saying? We don't need it to delay it any further. We're gonna start off with our first candidate because it took me a while. I wanted to do this show earlier, but had to build it out. But anyway, we're gonna start with a candidate that I've now moved up into number 4. Y'all know that I had originally Steve Clinkscale from the Chargers at number 4. If you watch my previous show or my previous shows, y'all go back and watch that. But I have since changed my order, and I'm gonna continue to change my order until we pick the DC, right? And I want y'all to know too that Brian Flores is overall my number 1 pick right now, but I'm not gonna do a show on Brian Flores because we already know about Brian Flores, right? And we can't interview him officially till starting tomorrow when he's a free agent. So that's why I haven't done any shows, but I'm definitely on the Brian Flores train, but these are my guys that are my top candidates minus Brian Flores. You understand? Okay. But anyway, let me look into the comments. All right. But anyway, let's get it going. So number 1, I'm going to talk about who I moved up to number 4, and that is this guy right here. Where is he at? I have moved him up into my number 4 candidate. And you may say, Star, who the hell is that? I'm glad you asked. So this guy's name is, where is he at? New option number 4, Nick Eason. Nick Eason. He is the Clemson assistant head coach and co-defensive coordinator. Been with Clemson since 2022 and was previously their run game coordinator and then got promoted to just actually be a co-defensive coordinator because they last defensive coordinator before this one this year, he was a whole mess. Uh-oh. I forgot what my music. I gotta put that on repeat. I gotta loop it. Okay, but anyway, so this is Nick Eason, y'all, and I'll be honest, y'all. At first, I was contemplating, I was gonna have him at 1 or 2, but I was like, you know what, I can't put him at 1 or 2. And I'm gonna get to that why, but I still wanted to have him in my top 5 because as I just kept doing more and more research, I'm like, I love this guy. Like, I love him. I know he's got some flaws and he's not the perfect candidate, but I think that he's an amazing coach from what I could gather. And I think that he would be a tremendous asset to our team. And even if he's not hired to be the defensive coordinator, he's still somebody that you should consider bringing in to be your defensive line coach. Because even though we liked White Cotton, Nick Eason's better. just to say it plainly, to me, I can't say to you, but to me, Nick Eason is better. So let's go ahead and get into, and I got a lot of clips to show y'all, but we're gonna just first look at just in general his pros and cons, just like I looked at the other candidates. So here are Nick's pros. Number 1, he's about competition. Okay, I put that first because what is our head coach's mantra? Compete every day. Competition is Shotty's whole system as a head coach. So when I heard this guy talk and he talked about how that's his main focus as well, I said check mark. So 1, he's all about competition. Focuses on technique and the fundamentals. Okay, his defensive lines, no matter where he goes, get sacks. Okay, this year, even with Clemson having limited talent on that side of the ball, minus what's our guy's name? Top 5 draft pick, Peter Woods. Minus Peter Woods, right? Number 19 in sacks at Clemson. Number 20 stopping the run. I'm sorry, number 20 in tackles for loss. His team had like over 80 some tackles for loss, right? Number 16 in run defense. We're talking about in the whole college. What is it? FBS, I guess what they call it. FBF, FCS, whatever they call it. Former athlete. This is why he really bumped up to number 4 to me. He's a former athlete and he had a long career in the NFL. 13-year career in the NFL. Right? Spent 4 years with the Steelers with Dick LeBeau. Won himself a Super Bowl. Right? Won himself a Super Bowl in 2009. Okay? Then he's also a talent developer. Okay? And I say that, why is he a talent developer? Because of Peter Woods. Because of other players like what's his name? Let me just bring up my notes so I'm not freestyling all of this. Oh, Peter Woods. Also developing TJ Parker, who's also I think he's declaring for the NFL draft. But then you also got to go to let me just put his accolades here on the screen because I actually took screenshots of it. So okay, hold on. Okay, so this is notes for him. Let me take this off the screen. His defensive tackles, right? His defensive tackles produced 14 of Clemson's 44 sacks and 31 of his 111 tackles for loss as the Tigers finished in the top 4 in the nation in both categories. This is in 2022 when he first came. So his first year, his defensive tackles produced this, right? Then in his first year in the conference, he earned 24/7 Sports ACC Recruiter of the Year for his first recruiting cycle, which ended on National Signing Day in 2023. This is what Coach Dabo Swinney, and y'all know Dabo is a national championship coach, right? Did he not win the national championship with Trevor Lawrence, with Sunshine? So Dabo said, Nick is the epitome of what I look for in a coach. He has an incredible passion for the game. He has a great background and he truly loves the player. And this hire, I really wanted a guy who had great experience at the NFL level. I wanted someone who has coached the best of the best at the highest level. And that's exactly what he's done. He was a great player at Clemson and he's a great Clemson man, right? So what did he do in Clemson? I think I have... Let me just keep reading. Prior to returning to Clemson, he served as a defensive line coach at Auburn in 2021, helping the Tigers to their largest sack total since 2018. What did I say? He gets sacks, right? He coached a defensive interior that helped Auburn allow the third fewest yards per carry in the SEC. And we know how competitive the SEC is. So he coached a defensive interior that helped Auburn allow the third fewest yards per carry and finished fourth in the conference in tackles for loss. And I believe that was in... I got to take this scrolling caption away so I can look at it. Finished fourth in the conference in tackles for loss in the 2021 season. Right? Then we go over to... We got so many notes on him. That's a note on him too. Then he served as an outside linebackers and defensive line coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, right? So he's coaching the NFL. That's another reason why he's high on my list. He's not just he's only, most of his stuff just comes from what he did at Clemson. No. He coached and played in the NFL. So he served as an outside linebackers coach for the Cincinnati Bengals from 2019 to 2020, right? In his first season, led significant improvement in the Bengals defensive line as the season progressed, notching an 11 sack improvement, and 84.1 yard reduction in yards per game in the final 8 games of the season as compared to the first 8 games. So that shows that his units get better as the season progresses. Helped Geno Atkins get his 8th Pro Bowl, which I think was Geno's last Pro Bowl of his career. So helped Geno get that. Then he was also hired, right, to the Tennessee Titans in 2014 to help oversee Tennessee's transition from 4-3 to 3-4 front, which means he's versatile. He can run any front. And he spent 2 seasons as a defensive line coach for the Titans before becoming their defensive line coach in 2016 and 17. His development, right? He's responsible for developing Jarrell Casey. I know y'all don't know him, but he had an incredible NFL run where he was Pro Bowl 4 years in a row, and that is because of Nick Eason. So Nick Eason is a talent developer, right? A talent developer. And then this is just going to all of the stuff, his personal accolades, right? That he served in the NFL, played in the NFL for 17 years. He was all ACC recognition at Clemson. Oh, this is not even talking about him. This is talking about just more players that he helped. Golly. So I'll read it. It says, guided Peyton Page to all AC recognition in his first year as a starter in 2024. Finished 13 nationally in tackles for loss. Produced multiple all ACC honorees in 2023. Tyler Davis, right, is on his list. Rook Okoro is on his list. Peter Woods is on his list. And they don't have him on here, but Brian Bresee, who now plays for the Saints, is also on his list, right? So this man just has accolades out the wazoo, right? His player development is pristine, elite. Like I said, Tyler Davis, Brian Bresee, Peter Woods, Jarrell Casey, right? There's more, but those are just the names that stand out, right? That he developed and produced high round draft picks, right? That's his resume. That's his track record. But when we go back and we look at, and I just want to briefly say, for Clemson, he was all ACC selection. and team captain. So this guy has just pretty much been a leader, and it explains why he had 13 years in the NFL. You see, most college coaches, they don't have that long in the NFL. They didn't play that long. You know what I'm saying? That's why they coaching now. But not it, Nick. Nick played at a high level, won a Super Bowl, then decided, okay, I'm going to get into coaching. So this is why Nick Eason has moved up to number 4 on my list. But to give background to Nick Eason and his scheme and his belief system, right? I'm going to go back to his pedigree, because his pedigree is rich. So I told y'all that he was a defensive coordinator, not the defensive coordinator, sorry. He was the defensive line coach for the Tennessee Titans. Okay, that's where because he was assistant at other stops, but then he actually became the actual D-line coach for the Tennessee Titans. So I said, let me see who was his defensive coordinator, because I think that's important. When you're looking at coaches who have never been defensive coordinators, we kind of need to look to get more of an idea of what they bring to the table. We have to look at their lineage. We have to look at where they came from, right? So when we look at where he came from, Dick LeBeau is where he comes from. Dick LeBeau is who coached that defense that Nick was on, Blitz. I think they called it Blitzburg, right? And then he became the defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, right? And once he became the coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, he brought Nick Eason with him. So we're talking about one of the greatest, that Nick was a part of one of the greatest defenses of all time in NFL history, and coached by one of the greatest defensive coordinators in NFL history. Whenever your defense gets names, that's how you know you're top of the line, right? So then we move into and let me see here. Let me take that off. Then we move into, what is Dick LeBeau? But it wasn't just Dick LeBeau. It was also, I forgot what's this guy's name. Sorry, y'all. I gotta find him. It put my graphics all out of order. But anyway, let's look at Dick LeBeau. This is Dick LeBeau's defensive philosophy, centered on creating confusion and unpredictability for offenses through his famous zone blitz. Aiming for pressure with safe disguised zone coverages behind it, making defenses hard to read and forcing turnovers by attacking from unexpected angles, often with defensive linemen dropping into coverage while linebackers or defensive backs blitz. His system, nicknamed Blitzburg, evolved to keep defenses ahead by disguising looks and adapting, emphasizing player freedom within the scheme to generate takeaways. So this is where he comes from. This is the scheme that he comes from, creating confusion, unpredictability, and an innovator, right? Because Dick LeBeau, what they're saying is he created, or he made famous, the zone blitz, which helped get takeaways. So his core concept, the zone blitz, was his core concept, right? Sending five rushes while 6 defenders drop into zone coverage, with rushers and droppers often being unconventional. Defensive linemen blitzing, a linebacker dropping. Confusion and disguise, showing one look pre-snap and changing it post-snap, making offenses unsure who to block or where help is coming from, and generating turnovers. Are these not the things that Coach Shoddy said he wanted? Someone who can take complex things and make them simple. Someone who focuses on turnovers. That is what Nick Eason's background is from. Not only did he play for this man, but he also was the defensive coordinator for this man. Right? And so safe pressure. So it's unlike traditional man-to-man blitzes where there's holes. So he comes from a guy who focuses on confusion, takeaways, and who's an innovator. That's his pedigree. Then we say, okay, but then there was another defensive coordinator that came over before LeBeau. And that guy's name is, let me see if I can find him. Sorry, y'all gotta just click through my 1,000. This guy, Ray Horton. So Ray Horton, and if you're just coming in, we're talking about Nick Eason, who I've moved to number 4 in my defensive coordinator ranking, right? So then we go into Nick Eason's first defensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans. And let's look at his philosophy. Aggressive pressure on the quarterback, creating chaos with multiple front scheme, 3-4 and 4-3 hybrid, which means I don't lock myself into a scheme. We do multiple schemes. Demanding players execute their specific roles within a fundamentally sound but attacking system, focusing on big, running defensive linemen and athletic linebackers. Aiming to be a physical, suffocating unit that wins with effort and making plays even if complex at times. So one thing, what are we hearing again? Complex, confusion, right? Focus on pressuring the passer. Using multiple fronts. So that means he can run the 3-4, he can run the 4-3, he can run the 5-2, he can run the 4-4, because that's what he was doing. Woo, this is such important information. I hope y'all are hitting the like button. I hope y'all are hitting the like button and the share button. And I hope you're subscribing to Stargazer Sports if you haven't already, because I'm breaking it down as far as I can. Right? I'm not just breaking down the candidate. I'm saying, where did he come from? You got to know where you come from to know how you're going to be. We're all products of our lineage. What they say, nature and nurture. Yes, outside factors affect us, but the inside factors affect us as well. Who do we come from? Who brought Nick into the league? These are the men who brought Nick into the league. Ray Horton, Dick LeBeau. Right? Then it says he focuses on being fundamentally sound and disciplined, doing your job. Okay? So when we get to Nick's interviews and we listen to him talk, you're going to hear combination of Ray Horton's scheme. You're going to hear combination of Dick LeBeau, of what he's focused on when it comes to his defensive linemen and how he chooses to lead. Okay, let me check the comments to see what y'all are saying. Glad to be part of your channel. Thank you. Coleman, I'm really thank you. You're a new user. I'm really new user. You're a new what you call a new. I hope you're a new subscriber. So I'm glad to see you in here. It says sounds intriguing. Hope y'all are enjoying this with Nick Eason. What up, Star? What up, Davion? How you doing? My guy Rico, how you doing? Davion said he's a former Cowboy. I don't know. Is he? Is he, Davion? Look that up for me. Is he a former Cowboy? I think he is. And then JV said, giving valuable information. Thank you. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. You know what I'm saying? I've done extensive research on these candidates, and as soon as I get done with this, I'll be tagging Shotty and the Cowboys. Because these are the type of people that you should be giving a call. That's all right, Kelvin. We're glad you're here now. Make sure y'all hitting that like button. Thank y'all so much for being here and rocking with me. But we're now going to get into Nick Eason's clips so that we can hear from him. But I just wanted to give y'all his background. So if you're coming in late, you're going to have to rewind it because I gave a lot of background on Nick Eason. But just to go over it, these are his pros in a nutshell. Where he at? Okay. So his pros is he's about competition. Focus on technique and fundamentals. Get sacks, which means he runs high pressure defenses, okay? Stops the run, which is important. I know we got torched versus the pass this year, but let's not act like stopping the run has not been the thing that has kept us away from reaching NFC championships and Super Bowls. And I want y'all to know, he does not have talent like that in Clemson. He has Peter Woods, who's amazing, but that's about it. But his unit as a whole is performing very well, right? He's a former athlete. This is why I push him to 4. Because he's a former athlete that played in the NFL for, and let me put his picture on the screen so y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Nick Eason. Okay, so won a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh under Dick LeBeau, Blitzburgh. He's a talent developer, rich pedigree, and then ranked ranked 31st in scoring defense. So his first year as a coordinator, because he's now the co-defensive coordinator for Clemson, he's still holding teams with little to no talent to 20 points per game. So he is a top of the line candidate and he should be considered. As I said, he may not get considered. He may not get the defensive coordinator job, but I think this guy should even be considered to bring on staff as a defensive line coach, if anything, and also a run game coordinator, because he specializes in that. And when we look at Clemson's defense last year, last year, because we're in 2026. So when we look at Clemson's 2025 defense, their issue was not stopping the run. It says Clemson's defense was actually very good. All right? Few opponents run efficiently in a traditional sense, but the teams that beat Clemson all share one trait. They don't let the run game hurt them. They don't need to run for 5 yards a carry. They just need to run for 0. They just need to run for 0 yards per carry and not -2, right? Because this is just a post saying that Clemson's struggles was not versus the run, it was versus the pass. And it's really because they did not have the personnel to stop the pass. They did not have the personnel to stop intermediate routes, basically. So when you look at, why was Clemson's defense ranked so low? That's why. They just got a new defensive coordinator for the 2025 season, along with Nick. So they're basically in the process of rebuilding Clemson. But yet his defense still performed pretty well in some areas. Like I said, sacks, tackles for loss, overall run defense still performed very well with little talent. And that's what you want to look for when we're looking at these coaches. We want somebody, because we don't have all these elite pieces, right? We need somebody who can help our guys elevate them higher. Because we have a great interior, but the rest, the cornerbacks and the linebackers, they need to be developed. We need somebody who can come in here and make the talent that we have better. Unlike Eberflus, who made the talent that we had worse. But anyway, I'm going to just show some clips. And I'm probably not going to show all the clips because I'm like, look, we already talked. Well, actually, no, I haven't talked. I probably talked about 10 minutes just doing the intro. So actually, I think I still got 15 minutes left on him. So I should be able to get through these clips, y'all. Hopefully. And I already got them clear. And I already got them queued up. Let's start with... Let's see here. One, I want to play this clip where he's talking about how he's an energy guy. Okay, it's at 8:02. Sorry, y'all, I'm getting it queued up. And then I will share my screen share. Hopefully y'all hitting that like button. Y'all gotta walk with me. Y'all want to know these candidates, so y'all gotta listen up carefully. Okay, let me turn this music off so y'all can hear, or maybe just down. I'll just turn it down a little bit. Okay, let's listen to Nick Eason.
Games, I hear Coach Allen on the headset. He's not on the sidelines, but I definitely got Bolwell. You know, he's got some energy, but we all bring the juice collectively when necessary. I think when leadership is needed, you provide it, and we all lead in our own authentic ways, and that's just who we are. Each and every day, we're like that in staff meetings. We're like that at practice. We're like that on game day. And so obviously being the of those three has the least amount of coaching experience, but he's been a huge addition to the staff as well, and Coach Allen. But we all bringing the juice every day, challenging each other, and getting after each other, and then obviously having fun in the process. So it's really been a joy to work with both of them.
So that's the clip of him saying, "We bring the juice, we bring the energy every day. That's what we do. That's what we believe in." And I was gonna show y'all a clip of like just basically his own field coaching style, and I still may show y'all that. But just a key word that Shotty said that not many people are talking about is how this man, how Shotty wants a head coach, or not a head coach, sorry, Shotty wants a defensive coordinator that can bring the energy. See, that's what everybody forget. Everything about teacher and communicator, but what about the energy? What about guys that can really push their players and bring the best out of their players at practice, the best out of their players on game day? That's what Nick Eason is. Okay, and again, played in the NFL 17 years, won a Super Bowl, played under uh Dick LeBeau, then coached for Dick LeBeau. That is his foundation, right? Also Horton. But when you talk about who really made him up as a player, Dick LeBeau. Okay, but anyway, let's keep listening because this is where he talks about competition. Where is it at? And how that's his philosophy. 218, I think it's here. All right.
Than before. If that's accurate, maybe a window into the philosophy there.
I think the ability to be able to substitute is because you have depth, and there's not a lot of drop off in our depth, and when you have depth and when you have competition, it really elevates the room, and that's why at defensive tackle specifically and at defensive end, guys have been playing really well because if you don't, there's somebody behind you that can step in and take your place very quickly. And I've really challenged these guys just this offseason, started back in January after the season was over with, just really being the true best version of themselves, and they stepped up the plate to be able to do that. And it just kind of shows you how leadership is important, and that starts with me as their position coach, and really challenging guys to not just talk about it but be about it, and that starts with your daily decisions and your daily habits. Many people can have goals, but that if your daily habits and your daily decisions are not a reflection of what you want to accomplish, then it's just talk. And so, but yes, you're correct. Being able to rotate guys and the level of play not dropping off is huge, and that's a testament to having. Everybody talks about Peter Woods, they talk about K-Part, but that's a testament to having guys like Stephon Green and Amari Adams and Mekhi Williams-Lee and Heaven Brown-Shulin. Those younger guys, they elevate the room, because they create competition. And that's one of the things I talk about when they first get here. Hey, we're all going to be brothers outside this room, but when you step on this field, man, it's your job to take that guy's position, and you got to create that environment.
I love that he says that, right? I'm going to rewind it.
And field, man, it's your job to, hey, we're all going to be brothers outside this room, but when you step on this field, man, it's your job to take that guy's position, and you got to create that environment and create that level of competition. Yeah, we're brothers outside, and yes, we're going to go out to eat. We're going to do some things that, help us bring closer as brothers. But when we step in this room, it's a competitive room, and it's all about beating those guys out. And, the competition never stops no matter where you go, and just really, kind of, give an example from what I've experienced, as a professional athlete, as a professional coach. Every year going to the NFL, they're going to draft somebody at your position. That's going to come in and try to take your position. And just so it just comes down to standards and playing to a standard, preparing to a standard. And that's the way I lead.
So, and let me look at see what y'all say anything in the comments. It said Ray played on the 90s team, Ray Horton. Okay. Yeah, so Ray Horton is also his mentor. So Ray Horton is the one who brought him to the Titans as a defensive line coach. And then Ray Horton was like, I don't know if he was let go. I don't know what happened. But it was the head coach got fired. Once the head coach got fired, Ray Horton got fired, but Nick stayed and Dick LeBeau was brought in, right? And of course, Dick LeBeau kept his player because he played for him. So Dick LeBeau kept him as the defensive line coach during his tenure as the defensive coordinator with the Titans. But when you look at, that's exactly right. You want to take talent like Q and Demo, you want to make them better. Absolutely. Even as a Raku, like you're trying to make these players better. But when you look at his philosophy, that aligns exactly with what Shotty is. Competition. Because I like how they're like, because the question was, y'all are rotating defensive linemen so much. And he's like, yep, that's exactly what we do. He said, we rotate our defensive linemen so much because it creates competition. I want my younger guys having the mindset that, Peter Woods, he may be the leader in the room, but I'm going to take his job. And he said, I coach that way because that's how it is in the NFL. In the NFL, every year they are drafting someone to take your job. That's why every single year you have to max out. That's why it's incredible that this man had a 13-year career in the NFL. 13 years. So he knows what it's like to constantly be trying to be replaced, but not being replaced. And he can relate. It's something different when these coaches have played in Super Bowls, have coached for incredible defensive minds. It's another level that they can teach to these players and really have these players understand them and have the respect and the reverence. What's up to my guy, Boss in the chat? I just did a show with Boss. Y'all go watch that over DB coach Carl Scott for the Seahawks. What's up, K-Faye? Glad to see you. But this guy is incredible. And I told y'all, I was really, at first I had him in top 2, but I said I can't put him top 2 just because I feel like I'll put his cons on the screen. He just has had limited DC experience, right? He's only, this was his, 2025 was his first year as a co-defensive coordinator. Even though he's been the defensive line coach, he's been the run game coordinator, and he's been an assistant head coach since about 2022, 2023. But this year was the first year he actually started calling plays. So he has limited DC experience. And then also a knock on him, even though he comes from Dick LeBeau scheme, which was so focused on creating pressure to get takeaways, he wasn't. We're gonna be honest. See, I'm not here to just tell y'all, oh, he's perfect, everything's great. No, he was also ranked number 58 in total takeaways in 2025, right? And then he was ranked number 55 in total defense in 2025. But to give context to that, as I said, it's because they don't really have talent over there. They're basically rebuilding. They fired their old defensive coordinator in 2024 and then hired a new one to be a co-defensive coordinator along with Nick. So they're in the process of rebuilding, right? But those are some knocks on him that, hey, you just started being a defensive coordinator, and then your overall in takeaways wasn't great. Your overall total defense wasn't great. But as I said, even though that wasn't great, he still was number 19 in the nation in sacks, number 20 in the nation in tackles for loss, and number 16 in run defense, right? So this is a guy, And something that was important as well is that their run defense in 2024 was putrid. And he fixed that in 1 year. So you can only imagine, as he continues to be the co-defensive coordinator, what he could do, or if he comes to Dallas, what he can do for us, right? Because he has the ability to turn things around quickly, right? And he also has players that he has developed that have been great in the, or not, maybe not great, but have been starters and good producers in the NFL. Some great, like Jarrell Casey, I mentioned, Pro Bowler, all Nick Eason. Then you have Brian Bresee, right? Which I looked at his stats. He's trending up for the Saints. Then I looked at I forgot that other kid's name, Tyler Davis, right? Who is still playing for the Rams. I think he's a nose tackle, and he's been having a pretty good NFL career. And then now he's developing top defensive tackle prospect Peter Woods. So this guy is top of the line when it comes to talent developing, top of the line. But his focus on competition is what really stands out to me, because that is the mantra of our head coach. And his desire is to make every player, no matter if you're the best in the room or the lowest in the room, he wants every player to have the mindset that I am here to take this person's job and to max out. And he teaches them that from an NFL perspective, which further makes them max out. You understand? Because they know this is what's required to make it in the NFL. You have to remain the best because every year they're trying to replace you. All right. So I went on a rant about that. But anyway, moving on. So now we're going to listen to, let's see. Okay, so now let me go to the next, and I hope y'all are hitting that like button and the share button. Hopefully y'all are hitting the like button and the share button, and y'all are appreciating the content. But now let me go into his next interview, because he has some great nuggets in here as well. So if we start off, which one is this? Sorry, y'all, I'm looking at my notes. 820. Okay, so we'll start here about holding players accountable. Let's start it right here. Let me share my screen.
Being very intentional about holding them accountable, and just really being intentional about being connected with the other people in this building. Our bistro staff, director of our athletic training room, director of our recovery, the weight room, and academics. And just really checking in with those people, and so those guys have really felt that my presence in every area of their lives, and just personally as well, sitting down and being intentional about connecting them and seeing what's going on with their family. These kids are still kids, but they're still human, and nobody's exempt from having issues. And so just being intentional with connecting them, and from a spiritual standpoint in their education, how they're training, and showing up on time and being where they're supposed to be, and that's been something that I've really just been tuning into, and just making sure I hold myself accountable and hold them accountable as well. And it's about the little details of our daily decision, our daily habits, and making sure that I'm intentional about holding them accountable to their daily actions as well. So,
how have you seen maybe the character development from Peter?
So I pointed that out, and then they're going to get into this next segment is going to get into how he's challenging Peter Woods, who is his best player. But when he talks about, I hold my players accountable, and we talk about consistency, but not just, Boss is in the chat, and Boss tells a story all the time about how his coach, he said his group performed the best when his coach would just talk to them about life, just talk to them about their grades and what they needed. He was like, whenever we had those talks, we went out and we played amazing. We played lights out, because coaches want to know that, players want to know that coaches care about them. And it's beyond just football. They want to know that you care about them in every aspect of life. And so Nick is a coach that he's going to challenge you in every aspect of life. Yeah, it's great. You're good at football. But what about those grades? How are you living your life off the field? Because he knows all of that is a major contributor to how your longevity in the NFL. And again, when he can tell these players, I've played in the NFL for 13 years, so I know what it takes, it automatically gives them the key to listen. But anyway, let's listen to this clip about how he holds his best player accountable in Peter Woods.
Now entering year 3, now upperclassman, just being on campus, being a Tiger, and then once again, you've hit on already how he's definitely now a leader amongst that line.
Everybody needs accountability, even your best players. And I've had a lot of one-on-one conversations with him and just challenged him to be the man that God has called him to be in every area of his life. And he's blessed with God-given talent, but you got to go play. Having talent is one thing, but you got to go put it on tape consistently and at a high level. But it starts in the off season with taking care of your body, and so I've challenged him in a lot of areas of his life, and I think he's done a really good job of responding and being consistent with that. And I think he's had his best off season, and he's got to continue to do that. Have a really great camp, and then go out and show people, that he is, what people have talked about, and this is his time and this is his year, but he's got to go play, and that's what it comes down to. You got to go play.
You got to go play. That's what he said. He was like, listen, Peter, he's good. You know what I'm saying? I tell him, you got all the talent in the world, but at the end of the day, it don't matter what you did last year. You gotta, in order to be the best, you gotta put out that you're the best consistently year in and year out. So I love a coach that doesn't. Sometimes you have these coaches where it seems like they fangirling over their players. I like a coach that to their best player, they like, yeah, whatever. Exactly, because that's what brings the best out of your players, when you're not treating them like they're just this golden child and they're so amazing and they're just so much better than everyone else, and because that creates spoiled brats. That doesn't create the best player that you need possible. So love that clip, what he said about Peter Woods. If you don't know who Peter Woods is, look him up. Top 5 draft pick. Maybe he's fallen on some boards, but I think he's considered to be the best defensive tackle in the 2026 draft coming up. So that's who Peter Woods is. That's who he was talking about and referring to. Okay, now we're going to listen to... Okay, now we're going to listen to this where he talks about the point of drills. Let me see. 1225. I hope this is the right one. All right.
It's a habit, and it's just really doing those drills that help you perfect being able to be a leader, holding the point of attack, whether it's against single blocks or combination blocks, and that's your job as a defensive lineman. That's what you signed up for, and so we just got to be intentional about how we approach our daily habits at practice and the things that we're doing, and make sure those drills are a reflection of what we're doing defensively, and that those drills show up on tape. You don't want to just be drilled just to be drilling because the drill looks cool. Sometimes it just comes down to just doing the simple things as block recognition drills every day, repeatedly over and over and over, until you get great at it. And that's one of the things I learned when I played for Coach John Mitchell, when I played for the Steelers. We did about 3 or 4 drills every day, but we were elite at what we did because we were consistent and just really being creating those habits of just playing the blocks we're going to see every weekend, every week, and that's what we're going to do here, is just be consistent with the things that we're going to be doing as defensive linemen and getting great at those things. And sometimes that may be 4 or 5 things, maybe a bunch of drills. It's just going out there, being able to see formation, being able to see blocks, and being able to hold a point of attack, whether it's against single blocks or combination blocks, and being able to win your one-on-one matchups as it pertains to pass rush. And that's what it's going to come down to. So it's my job to make sure I'm consistent with those drills day in and day out, and just holding them accountable, and just being able to watch film and evaluate them as well as evaluate the drills that I'm doing to make sure they're a reflection of what we're doing defensively.
And so love that clip, because he talks about how sometimes you do have coaches out here and it's like, what is the hell is the purpose of this drill? what the hell is the purpose of this drill? And he's like, you don't just do drills to do drills. And he's like, people want to focus on 500 different things, but he's like, it's best to focus on about 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 things and just keep doing it over and over and over and over. He said that's what we did in Pittsburgh. He said we did the same 4 drills over and over and over and over again until we perfected it. But that's what made us great. That's what made us Blitzburg. When he talks about consistency and fundamentals, that's Shotty all day. Shotty's favorite word is consistency. That's his favorite word, but that's what it takes to be great. You have to be able to do the basic things. You have to be able to do the fundamentals at an elite level, and that's what Nick Eason brings to the table. And so we're gonna go to one more interview that he did, because I think it's some good stuff in there, and then we're gonna transition to the next candidate. I'll check the chat in a minute, but let me just pull this up. Um, okay, so here it goes. And y'all gonna see Nick lost a lot of weight too. And I kind of think that's important, is it not? Like, it just shows as a coach that he practices what he preaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be on your players about their fitness, about their nutrition, everything, but he decided personally in his own life, let me make that change as well. And I think that just gives a player a more reason to respect you. You understand? But anyway, matchup football. Mm-hmm. So I put that clip in there just to show that his philosophy. He's like, listen, football's about matchups at the end of the day. He's like, you could splice it any way you want it, but it's about the matchups. It's basically the mantra of, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmy and Joes. You can only scheme so much. At a certain point, your players just gotta win. Sometimes you just gotta line it up and you gotta win. Your players have to be better. And so I like that he said that, because that means that as a defensive coordinator, he's going to be he attacks matchups. That's what you should be doing as a defensive coordinator, attacking matchups. trying to get the absolute best outcome for your players by making sure your players are in the best positions and not putting your players in deficit positions like Eberflus was doing, whereas you're having players do stuff that they're not very good at. If you have them doing something they're not very good at, they're going to lose that matchup. And when everybody's losing their matchup, that's when you're going to lose the game. Because everybody's got to be able to beat the man in front of them, especially if you're on the defensive and offensive line. You just got to be able to defeat that man in front of you. If you can't do that, it's going to be a long day for everybody. And then I put this in here too because this just shows how I never heard until we got Shotty a coach talk so much about practice. And how practice is what earns you playing time. And then I heard Nick and I said, this is exactly what Shotty be saying. So it just shows a meeting of the minds with these two gentlemen. Let me see. Okay, yeah. I think it's right here. Mm. He said, that's not good for me. So when you talk about, and I'm gonna check to see what y'all saying, but when he talks about making sure, did y'all even see that? Let me see what y'all saying. Oh, landlord in the building. What's up, landlord? Sorry, I'm rolling. Did y'all just see that clip, or did y'all not? I think I shared. Did I share my screen? Or I hopefully give me a thumbs up. Put some stars in the chat if y'all could hear that last clip. If not, then I need to replay it. Y'all let me know. David said, bring him in. I like it. He can be on the staff. Yeah, I feel like he definitely should be a candidate that should be on the staff. The guy deserves an interview, in my opinion. I think you cannot do any wrong by putting as much championship pedigree coaches around your team, especially if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, that's what they said the goal is next year. You definitely need to try to put as many championship coaches around these guys. I think that should be I can't say it's a requirement for you to have won a national championship or a Super Bowl, but I think that if you have won a championship or national Super Bowl, or a Super Bowl, that should give you a leg up on another candidate. Okay, so y'all didn't see that clip. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I did not this whole time, I guess y'all couldn't see that at all. It's because I can hear through the thing. God dang. Okay, hold on. That's my fault. I was like, could y'all hear that? No, y'all couldn't even hear that. I'm just talking away. That's my fault. Okay, sorry, y'all. I gotta start. Where was I at? Okay, we'll listen to this. He's going to talk about how football is a game of matchups.
And I mean, the game of football comes down to one-on-one matchups, and you can draw it up any way you want, but it's going to come down to you winning your one-on-one matchup, and that's going to be the case every single week, and that's just the game of football. And so there were times, man, where they just matched us up and wanted it more than we wanted it, and that showed up on tape, up front, on the back end. They made some plays. But it starts up front, and so I got to do a better job of challenging our guys, and I put a lot of pressure on the guys up front. Hey man, we got to do a great job of knocking things back, getting off blocks up front, man, and create clear lanes for our running backs for our linebackers to come downhill and make plays. And I just think we didn't do a consistent good job of that.
And so I played that clip. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because I'm like need to move on time. But he was just explaining there that football is a game of matchups. I put that in there just to explain his overall thought process and philosophy. That's what I was talking about when I was speaking about matchups. And how, listen, football can be schemed this way and that way and this way and that way, but at the end of the day, it's all about you beating the man in front of you. Point blank, period. Everybody's got to be able to defeat the man in front of them. That's how you're going to win as a team collectively. And then I'll play this other clip where he talks about practice and consistency, and how practice determines who plays in the week. And I said I never heard as many people talk about practice like Shoddy until I listened to Nick Eason.
Feel thing, you have an idea going into a game?
Well, I've never been the type of coach to, have somebody start counting reps. I think it starts in practice on a day-to-day basis. I think you earn the right to play by how you practice during the week. And, practice is about building up trust in what you're doing. And, we put together a plan, and it starts in practice today, man. You're going out, you're trying to, getting guys to execute. And the guys who execute and make the minimum mistakes and errors and guys who get better throughout the week and understand our plan and understand what to do and has got the eye of the tiger and is going to work hard, the guys that are going to play. And then obviously in the game floor, in the floor of the game, I mean, I can feel guys. I talk to them about, hey, I can't feel you. I can feel guys who are really, locked in. They're making plays. They're in their gap. They're making plays. Their energy is great. You look in their eyes. I'm big in looking at body language. Even when things go wrong, I'm looking at the body language of guys. I'm looking in their eyes. I'm looking to see who's talking, trying to motivate. And those guys are generally guys going to take most of the snaps. And then, they're now looking at some of the guys who are just look like they've just been in World War II, just a blank stare. And that's not good for me, And so, and I get it. Sometimes, things are going to happen in the floor of a game. It's every week. Something's going to happen, right? But it's like about how can you recover from that? How do you handle adversity? And, and so, based upon playing time, it's a feel for me. I don't, count the reps, and generally it kind of just plays out. Our best guys take majority of the reps, and then you got the guys who are rotating in. And like you said, man, all of our guys deserve to play. But when you got a lot of talent, man, it's hard. It's not going to be evenly distributed reps. But I think it's just based upon how guys practice throughout the week.
And what was that quote that Kenny Clark said at the end of the season? Then he said, "We need dogs." That's what he's just said. He said, "Listen, if you're gonna play for me," and yes, Davion, yeah, he played in the NFL 13 years. Played in multiple teams, but won a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh. He was with them for about 4 years, I think 4 to 5 years. But yeah, what he's saying is, if you're not a dog, you won't be playing. That's what he's saying. In the that's me summarizing what he said. If I look at you and we're down and you hanging your head low. Exactly, JV. We need dogs. He's like, don't want you. If I look at you and your eyes glazed over, don't want you. Don't want you. What I want is a player that I'm looking at, that they're bringing the energy, that they're fired up on the sideline. It doesn't even matter what the score was or what the score is. They're trying to win the game. He said those are the guys that are going to play, and that starts in practice. So at first we didn't really understand it. Shoddy talk about practice. But what he's saying is, if you're not gonna be that way, right? If you're not gonna be intense in practice, you're likely not gonna be intense in game day. Now there are something called gamers, and that is true. Where practice is terrible, but in the game is a different. But anyway, he said in the game. He said it starts for practice, but he said in the game, I have to be able to feel you. And if I can't, and I'll tell a player, I can't feel you. And if I don't feel you, you won't be playing. So, all in all, this is why I have Nick as my number 4 candidate. I put him over Steve Klinkscale, even though I still love Steve Klinkscale. And the reason why I put him over Steve Klinkscale is because he is a former player. And I think former players kind of got to get the nod. If I feel like y'all both is kind of the same when it comes to like your experience with DC, even though Klinkscale did win a championship with Michigan. So we got to give Klinkscale that as a co-defensive coordinator. But when I look at Nick Eason, this guy was in the NFL, as I keep saying, 13 years. Won a Super Bowl for one of the most historic defenses in NFL history. Coached for Dick LeBeau, right? And then we talked about how his pedigree, how Dick LeBeau's whole thing was about turnovers and confusion and aggression. And then Roy Horton was all about adaptability and aggression. And then you can see that inside of Nick's overall philosophy, even though I don't really have an argument. I'm not going to lie. I don't have a great argument for takeaways. I can just say that he came from a regime that believed in that heavily, but he's also only been a defensive coordinator for 1 year. That's why I say those are his cons, because he's a little bit limited. But I think overall, the cons, right? These are his cons, but the pros outweigh the cons, baby. The pros outweigh the cons. So this is why I think Nick should be considered for the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator position. If you are watching on the playback, please put in the comments what you think about Nick and who you want the defensive coordinator to be. And also, if you're in the chat live, please let me know what y'all's thoughts are about Nick. Yeah, but anyway, let's move on, because we're already an hour and 10 minutes into this show. Y'all, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think we're gonna get to my number 1 candidate. I think I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow. I'm gonna try my best, but my number 1 candidate is so much information. And now I'm about to delve into my number 2 candidate, who is also a crap load of information. So I really think I'm gonna have to just put my number 1 as for a show tomorrow. But I'll reveal who he is today. I just probably can't go extensively like I want to, but we'll see. And maybe I could just break it up so that people could just listen. Okay, this is a Nick Eason segment. This is so-and-so segment. This is so-and-so segment. So I'll see about that. We'll see. I'll see how the numbers are doing, if y'all still even in the chat once I get done with this second blur person. Okay, but anyway, moving on to Star's top 2 candidate so far in her defensive coordinator search. And that is nobody other than Mr. Daronte Jones. Mr. Daronte Jones. Shout out to my guys Lou and Henny and Boss, because they've already talked about Daronte Jones extensively and have done, much research and shows over him. But I did not, at first, I had not done research on him, but I wanted to. And so I delved into research on him on my own, and he shot up my coaching rankings. He shot up right into number 2 spot so far. And so when we look at Daronte, is currently the Minnesota Vikings DB coach and passing game coordinator. And so if we go over Daronte's pros, let's talk about it. And I'm gonna take him off the screen so y'all can actually, I'm gonna keep him on the screen because I'm talking about him, so people coming in, they know who I'm talking about. Okay, so these are Daronte's pros. Coached at all three levels. So that means high school, college, NFL. He also has a very rich pedigree. Brings the energy. Elite communicator. All about the ball. That is his focus, which means what? Takeaways. All about the ball. Very personable, or very personal. I meant personable, but I put personal. But he connects in an elite way with his players, which is important, which is something that Nick also had, where this ability to connect with players, this ability to understand players and really push them to be their best selves. He's a technician. He led the NFL in takeaways in 2024. He did fall in 2025, but he was still top 15. He was top 12. He was number 12 in 2025. Number 3 total defense in 2025. Number 2 passing defense in 2025. Number 7 scoring defense in 2025. Number 2 red zone defense in 2025. And this is why he moved up to 2 for me. The NFL is what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? I know there's a lot of candidates and it's like, oh, he did this 3 years ago. He did this 4 years ago and 5 years ago and 6 years ago. But I'm like, but what are you doing now? That's what made me put some people above others, because I need to know, what are you doing now? You got to consider what people did for their whole career, but what is your production now as a coach? So when I did just my basic level of research, this is what I gathered from Daronte. But then let's talk about where does Daronte come from? What is his? So I told y'all what Nick Eason's pedigree was, but now we have to see what is Daronte's pedigree. All right, great. Glad you asked. So when we start off with Daronte, so he was brought into the NFL by no one other than, let's see if I can. No, not Dick LeBeau. That is what I need. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta find where it's at. Here. He was brought into the NFL by Mr. Vance Joseph. Okay? And so what is Vance Joseph's defensive philosophy? Centers on being smart. Being smart bullies is how the great AI has told us. Aggressive in attacking, but also adaptable and intelligent. Blending zone and man coverage and prioritizing player success over rigid schemes to create pressure and turnovers. Often using flexible fronts, creative blitzes, and strong four-man rushes to disrupt offenses. His approach is players first, scheme second. Adapting calls to personnel, emphasizing technique and leveraging diverse skill sets like positionless defenders. So you're going to see, guys, that my top 3 candidates, because I still have Adam Fuller at 3. You got to go back and watch my video when I broke him down. But my top 3 candidates are adaptable. That's a characteristic that they have over the other candidates, is their scheme adaptability, which means they fit their scheme to players. They do not do players over. I mean, they do not do scheme over players. They do players over scheme. I think that's huge because we did not have that. I'm gonna take this graphic off so that y'all can see me, but we didn't have that under Eberflus. We had, I don't like grits. That's what we had under Eberflus. I don't like grits. I don't like that. I don't like blitzing. I don't like running man. I don't like doing that. When we look at the top 3 candidates that I named, Adam Fuller and now Daronte Jones, they're all about the players. They're all about, I can run multiple schemes. Now, Nick Eason, he has a history. He comes from a pedigree where they're like, we run multiple schemes. Because I told y'all about Horton. right? Where they ran multiple schemes. So he has familiarity in that. But Daronte specializes in that, right? Player adaptability, adapting scheme to players, right? So that's who brought him into the NFL, Vance Joseph. But then, no, that's not it. Sorry, I gotta find where the other one. Nope, that's the LeBeau's. Sorry, y'all. There's so many screenshots, so I'm just like clicking through them to find what I'm looking for. No, that's Brian Flores. Here we go. Players first, scheme second. Joseph adapts his scheme to maximize players' strength. Smart bullies. That means he wants you to be. He said he wants aggressive and attacking, but thoughtful. Avoiding reckless blitzing for calculated pressure, making them smart, not just fast. So that's the thing that I would like. Do we have a coach that can help our players or bring in the players needed that can elevate our IQ? Because I don't think we have dumb players by any mean, but I think that the scheme that our players were under just caused them to play fast. And playing fast is great. But in today's NFL, you also need players that are cerebral. That's what you're seeing. You need players who are cerebral with high awareness. And we saw the fallout because we went from a man scheme to a zone scheme. And playing zone, you got to have a lot more awareness than playing man coverage. And that really bit us in the ass this year because we just weren't used to that. So if we could have a coach that can come in here and do what Shotty said, make something that is so complex and fit it to make it basically elementary to where the players can understand it, but not only understand it, but execute it. That's what Shotty is looking for. Let me check the chat. Star gives us so much info. Will always be a part 2. Nick doesn't have the tenure as DC. That excuse those of influence will use to keep him from getting an interview. He seems legit to me, though. Yeah, people may say, Nick doesn't have a lot of DC experience, and that's fair. Neither does Daronte. Daronte only had 1 year of he only had 1 year of DC experience, and that's a con for him too. So, but I hear what you're saying for sure. Says Brian Flores, Daronte Jones, Raheem Morris. I assume this is like the person that you want. I like that list. That's a good list, I feel like. He said focus on players' strengths and schemes. Right, Mike? Exactly. So now we're gonna look into. So we went through Vance Joseph. That's how he came into the league, right? Then we look at where he at. Then we look at, okay, who's next? Who also said, okay, I want you to come in and be my DB coach and my passing game coordinator. Well, look no further than the man who was our defensive coordinator last year, in 2024, Mr. Mike Zimmer. And what is Mike Zimmer's scheme built off of? Built on aggressive, physical, and adaptable 4-3 base scheme, emphasizing stopping the run first, utilizing disguised coverages, right, and bringing pressure with creative blitzes. So his focus is stopping the run, aggressive pressure, double A gap blitzes, disguise and deception, man coverage focus, right? But of course, his scheme is adaptable. So you now have 2 coaches that are all about disguise, deception, being aggressive, but Zimmer is more so. Zimmer will bring that mid blitz on your ass where it's 0. You see, Vance likes to do it where he's like, he'll blitz here and there, but he probably prefer to bring Vance right now in his scheme. I think he'll adapt his scheme for the personnel, But right now, which it clearly shows, he's going to choose players over scheme. Right now, he has the players where he can line up and just rush 4 and get home. So you'll see that he doesn't really blitz at a whole high rate, but he has the ability to, right? And the same thing with Mike Zimmer. So now you're seeing Daronte went from one NFL mastermind to another NFL mastermind. And then now he's the coordinator for who? Mr. Brian Flores, who was really my number 1 pick. But of course, I'm doing these other guys because, like I said, everybody's already talked about Brian Flores extensively. But Brian Flores' defensive philosophy centers on controlled chaos, blending aggressive disguise pressure with disciplined zone coverages, right? It says particularly playing with more rushers than the offense can block, 6 to 7 up blitzes, and dropping defenders into coverage, forcing quick decisions and capitalizing on mismatches to create turnovers, often with unique hawk or maze, which means man alignment zone execution packages that create confusion and exploit offensive tendencies. So you go from, where is the first one? Hold on, let me see if I can pull it. No, that's not him. No, that's not him. Is it? No, that's not him. Where is it? Is it this? Oh my God, I can't find it. Okay, so you go from Vance Joseph, right? That's emphasizes turnovers and pressures and creative blitzes and chaos, to Mike Zimmer, who is the exact same chaos, turnovers, stopping the run, confusion, disguise, pressure, right? To, where is he at? Flores, who is chaos, disguise, pressure, right? So you can see that his pedigree is what he is. Because what is he doing in the NFL today? I just told you. And we'll bring his pros back onto the screen. Right? This is where his defense ranks. Well, his position group. Number 3. So they're number 3 total defense, but number 2 passing defense. He is the passing game coordinator and DB coach for Minnesota. So number 2 passing defense, number 7 scoring defense, number 2 red zone defense. That is what Daronte is. But now we're going to listen to some clips. We're going to watch some clips. We're going to listen to some clips from Daronte to really get a better feel of who he is and his reputation around the league. Because people are treating Daronte as if, I don't even need to mention his name. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's weird. But that's why us as a content creators, we have to put out who we want, because it seems like certain candidates are being forced down our throats that aren't real fits for what Shotty wants. Because Shotty said, he said the biggest issue with our defense was that we couldn't get takeaways. So I'm confused on why we are looking at candidates, right, that don't have a history of it, or at all, don't have a history of high takeaways, don't come from a pedigree of high takeaways, or not even showing that they care about takeaways in the modern NFL. So let me pull up these clips so that we could listen to Mr. Daronte Jones, because Daronte Jones is more than qualified. But for some reason, people are talking about him like he's barely qualified. That's how they're talking about him, like he's hardly qualified. And that's total and complete BS. So let me pull this up. So where are we gonna start at? Sorry, I gotta go down to him. Where are we at, Daronte? And something that's great, just to talk a little bit more about Daronte and just give his background. He was a former DB. but he ended up getting hurt. And he said that when he got hurt, he fell into this deep depression. But it was his position coach that brought him out of it and said, hey, how about you follow us around and just continue to stay connected? And that's where he learned to teach. See, he learned to teach once he got hurt. Instead of leaving, he stayed with the team and he started learning to be able to teach football at a high level. So that's how he got into teaching. And he got into teaching as a former player. But let's see. And another important thing about Daronte, he was kept through. Remember, I told you, you want to look for if a coach is staying through multiple head coaching regimes, that means that they're invaluable. And that head coach does not think, I could just find someone else. Because he was under Zimmer. Zimmer got fired. Then Kevin O'Connell came. Kevin O'Connell kept him on staff. So that shows what? What does that show? We think Daronte is invaluable. I know I have friends or whatever that have coached DBs that I could bring in. I could bring in my homeboys, but I'm not going to bring in my homeboys because I believe that Daronte is what's best for my team, not my homeboy. So that's a very, very important note. But let's listen to this interview. Let's see if I got the clips. Yeah, and it's not even that many clips. I think I only got like 2 clips, so that's great. Yeah, so I may get to my first candidate. This may just be a long show, but I'm gonna listen to these other clips. Where we at? Okay, sorry y'all. I'm trying to find out where it is. I'm gonna just start right here. Make sure I share my screens so y'all can hear it.
Communicate with them in a very relatable way. And I've heard from current players, former players, that they often credit your ability to communicate with them in a very coaches. And I've heard from current players, former players, that they often credit your ability to communicate with them in a very relatable way as one of your greatest strengths. Where does that come from? You've had a mix of veteran players, young players.
So he said communication. I've heard from Ari, and this is Ari Marinov. And this is coaching where he did a segment where he's spotlighting coaches, and he spotlighted Daronte. He didn't spotlight Jim Leonhard. He spotlighted Daronte, and he said, I hear from players around. So this is not him. This is not him hearing from other coaches or GMs. He said, I'm hearing from players that you are an elite communicator. Tell me how you do that. Uh-oh. Tell me how you do that.
Look at the team right now. You have Harrison Smith, you've had Patrick Peterson, you have all these young guys. What is it about your personality and approach that has led you to your success where it doesn't matter who it is, you're able to relate with them no matter what?
Well, I think it's getting to know each person individually. And I always tell our players, everyone will be treated fairly. And with that being said, a guy like Harrison Smith is going to be not treated differently, but he has more money in the bank, so to task than like Jay Ward, for example, a younger player. So, but yet and still, each player want to be coached, and you got to try to find a way to meet them where they are, what are their interests in, and a lot of it is, by human nature, every person either wants to feel important, right, or feel appreciated, and so. With that, you tap into it, get to know that person as an individual, find out what their goals are, what's their why, and try to help them achieve that. Now, in doing that, I'm a kind of a movie buff. So, there's movies of all genre, all years. And so there's always something that I could tap into as an example, either in the hip hop era or just, comedies or something like that, to use that example that they can relate to. And they'd be like, okay, it's just like this, or just using different examples that way where they can buy into it, and they remember that example, which would then allow them to remember what the teaching point was. And I think it's just a matter of feeling vulnerable, being vulnerable as well with the players, understanding, hey, I don't have all the answers. We're learning this together. And so, we don't care where good ideas come from. And I think that relationship with each and every one of those players helps establish those bonds.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique way to.
So I know y'all probably expected, he's like, so why are you such an elite communicator? People probably expected, well, I was trained here and done this and I did that. But he said, I just know how to connect with people. And who said that? Who said, I'm great at X's and O's, but I really know how to connect with people? Anybody in the chat, let me know who said that. Who also said, I know how to do the X's and O's, but what I'm really about is connecting with people. What I'm really about is relationships. Y'all let me know in the chat who said that. Because this man is saying, the reason that I can communicate with Harrison Smith to whoever, an undrafted rookie free agent, is because every player wants to be loved. Every player wants to be cared for. Every player wants to feel like you understand them and you hear from them. And that you can relate to them and that they can relate to you back. Thank you, JV. Shoddy. So when you listen to this man, this is why I think Shoddy brought him in. I think there's a competition right now. I think there's Stephen Jones. Shoddy, you see it's coming in. I think Stephen Jones is pushing for this Jim Leahard guy. But when you listen to his direct coaching approach, when you listen to Daronte, this sounds like Brian Schottenheimer. Down to the bone. This is what it looks like. Right? An elite communicator. A person that is a player's coach that brings energy. A person that's a teacher. Right? That is what Daronte is. And it's not coaches or elite GMs. It's current players that are saying this is his reputation. He knows how to communicate. And he knows how to communicate. Why? Because he knows how to build relationships with people. It's not, you can't find it in a book. Well, there may be some books that talk about that. But when you want to connect with a player, you got to get to know them. When you want to communicate something to a player, you got to be able to know them. And how can I relate what I'm trying to say to them to where they're able to digest it? And so I got one more clip where he talks about exactly. You need to listen to what Shoddy wants if you want him to succeed. That's why we're focusing. I'm focusing on Shoddy. Because Shoddy already got screwed his first year because of a defensive coordinator was forced upon him. I don't want that happening again, because if it happens again, our season will be over before it began, just like the 2025 season. Shoddy needs his coach that he wants, not what the fans are wanting, not what the front office is wanting, but what he is wanting. But now let's listen to another clip where he tells you his philosophy as a coach. Let me see, 17. I think it should be 17, 15. Let me see.
Stress, and it's all about the ball. We try to tackle at the level of the ball. Instills in us on both sides of the ball. It's the same philosophy that Flo reiterates to the defense, that we each as a position coach, stress, and it's all about the ball. We try to tackle, stress, and it's all about the ball. As a position coach, stress, and it's all about the ball. we try to tackle at the level of the ball. We attack the ball because I always tell players, especially defensive backs, they want to get paid. Well, you don't get paid if you don't touch the ball. So whether you're forcing fumbles, creating interceptions, you get paid in this level by touching the football. And so for a defender, understanding that and it's becoming a part of who they are, it's part of our play style, it just becomes second nature for us. And then we drill it, we stress it, we coach it. And what you're seeing is the fruits of our labor.
Yeah, so this defense, of course, you're the DB's coach. All these players are doing a great job.
So I don't know how it could get any clearer. Shotty said he wants a teacher. This man's own player said he's an elite teacher and a communicator. Shotty said, I want a teacher. I want somebody who can take something that's complex and make it simple. This man, every single coordinator that he has coached under, all has a mantra of complexity. All have these complicated schemes that are pressure based. That's all based on confusion. That is where he comes from. And then his philosophy, we are all about the ball. I tell players, if you want to get paid in the NFL, you better get the ball. That's this man's philosophy. So Shotty said the main issue with our defense is we couldn't get takeaways. His philosophy is takeaways. Shotty said, I want somebody who is an elite communicator. This man's player said he's an elite communicator. Shotty said, I want somebody who can bring the energy. This man has the ability to connect with players based off of, he said, music, movies, whatever, right? Someone who can relate to them and speak to them on their level to where he's igniting that energy inside of them. On top of him just having his own coaching style energy. Shotty said he wants somebody that's a teacher. This man who can teach complex things. All this man knows is complexity. That's all he knows. That's literally all he knows is complex scheming, but teaching it to a level that where everybody can understand it who is under him. So I don't understand, and I'm going to go to my guy D-Block, because I saw your comment, D-Block. He said, is Shotty, and somebody, Perm Denton, said, you know ball better than JB and Breezy. Thank you for your football knowledge. I don't know who those are, but thank you so much, Perm. But D-Block said, are the Cowboys looking for another yes man? I think Steven is. Because this man is an exact, I mean, if Shotty said I want to print out a coach to be exactly what I want, it would be Daronte Jones. But yet, he's not the one being pushed out to the masses. He's not the one being pushed out to the masses. But Jim Leonhard is. Right? And then I want to show y'all this clip. When I saw this clip, I said, okay, so these people are playing games. The local media is playing games with us. And they're doing exactly what they did with that Kellen Moore bullshit, where they keep telling us, yeah, he's the pick already. He's so close with Dak and blah, blah, blah. And they just tried to force Kellen Moore down our throats. Fuck no. Sorry, it makes me cuss, but it's just, I haven't even cussed, but it just makes me so angry, bro. Let's take a look at Mr. Daronte Jones. This is Daronte at the Senior Bowl. So he don't know these damn kids. Let me just say, he don't know these kids. He don't know these kids. But look at what Daronte Jones is doing at the Senior Bowl with kids he don't know.
I'm staying away from both.
That's hey, I always tell everybody just so they're aware.
They should be able to see it though, right? I mean,
yours in. You can see yours.
No, yours blends in.
His blends in, but I get like, I knew you were. So.
Yours, obviously.
No, it's obvious. Yeah. It looks terrible. It looks terrible.
You guys enjoying this?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's good. Always, anytime you can be a part of these guys' journey, it's fun.
How are they handling it?
So far, so good, actually. Guys are taking the coaching. They want to learn. It's been good. What up, fellas? What up, fellas?
I don't know what you just said, man.
What up with you guys? Doing all right? Let's roll, baby. Right? Ball awareness, den of thieves. We need that ball today.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Appreciate you guys. Let's be better with that
That
today,
ball
right?
today.
All right, babe. Good swim. Good swim. A lot of gold helmets out here.
Now it looks nice in the sun.
A lot of gold out here. It's all about that ball today. We'll put hands on people today. Come on, put hands on people. Hey, deep halves, let's make some plays. Cover 2, make some plays. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Put hands on dudes today. We'll put hands on dudes. Show them that CIAA about now. Come on, babe.
So you see, and who says it's a requirement? Y'all let me know. Who says it's a requirement for his coaches to go through and touch every player before practice? Like, and what are we seeing this man do? He's at the Senior Bowl. He's walking through. He's shaking everybody's hand. He's making jokes. He's making personal connections with each of these players. Right? This is what I'm talking about. This is why he's my number 2 candidate. Because it's like, not only does this man bring the energy, right? But he also has the personality. He also has he's very personable with his players. Even if he doesn't even know you, he doesn't know these kids. These are just young college prospects that he's there to observe to see who he's going to bring on his defense on draft night. But you can see the way that he's able to connect with these kids day one at the Senior Bowl.
You can make some plays today?
Of course.
I know it. Let's go, Lachi. Let's go, baby. We dictating today. Every day. Love it. Let's go. Let's have fun today.
Yes, sir. Do it.
Good work, babe. Good work. I like these guys, man. The biggest thing is...
But I just wanted to show y'all that because it's like y'all can go through and look at the whole Senior Bowl video, but I just wanted to show y'all. Well, let me see, but I'm gonna let it play just a little bit more.
They're paying attention to detail. They're trying to, and they're trying to take the coaching. You know, even though some of the techniques may be different than what they've been taught, you know, they're trying new things. Good. Come out digging. Drop that body weight. Full speed. That ain't running. Come on, you faster than that. Step on my toes. Drop. Come on. Drop.
That energy, I feel the energy through the screen.
Good, Cam. Get out.
Y'all feel the energy?
Come on,
See,
dig.
I feel it.
Good movement. Good, you got the fade ball. Safety's on the post. Want me to get that? Ready? There we go. Coming your way. Boom. Bang. There we go.
This man doing ball drills at the Senior Bowl. Ball drills with the cornerbacks.
I'm gonna flatten you out. Range, get there. We got one-on-ones in about 2 minutes. I know you saw them dimes. I was dropping them dimes. Hey, carry the technique over, right? Win with technique. Patience. Drive. Work your technique. Find it. Hands off. Hell of a catch.
So you can see the man is high energy. The man is screaming the whole time in practice, encouraging players, joking, doing this. If that's not basically the black version of Shotty. If Shotty just painted his skin black, he would be Daronte Jones, literally. So I'm really confused on why another certain candidate is being pushed. It's like, it's okay. You can talk about Leonhardt. That's great. Talk about him. But why are people not talking about this candidate who is more than qualified and is basically Shotty, the black version of Shotty? I really don't know. Well, we know why that is. As Mike said, the media is getting their cues from the Joneses. Yeah, it's Steven. It's Stephen Jones because he wants to stifle all these other candidates down because he wants the fans to be like Jim Leonhard, Jim Leonhard. So it'll be easier for them to make the hire, but don't believe it and don't buy into it. Period. All right, y'all let me know in the chat. Do y'all want me to reveal my number one candidate today and go through his stuff? Or should we just call it even and I'll do another show later? Exactly. All he need. Y'all let me know in the chat. Would y'all rather me reveal my number one candidate tomorrow? And we do another show tomorrow just about him? Or would y'all rather me just go straight through and keep going? It's up to y'all. I'm gonna wait till y'all give me comments in the chat. But I do want to get into his cons. Daronte's con is that he has limited DC experience. Just like Nick, he only had 1 year as a defensive coordinator at LSU, and the defense was not good. But the reason why that happened is because his head coach who hired him got fired mid-season. Right? So that pretty much, once you fire your head coach mid-season, it pretty much derails the entire season. So that's why you didn't really see great results. As you know, you should have perked up when you saw that it was only 1 year that he was there. Like, why was he only there 1 year? Well, that's why. Head coach ended up getting fired, and LSU. On top of that, LSU had a slew of injuries. And some of y'all may say, oh, well, too bad. Well, he needs to make it work, anyway. And it's like, well, he couldn't have made it work in LSU, or he didn't make it work at LSU because of the circumstances, but he damn sure has made it work in the NFL because name me Daronte Jones's corners in secondary without Googling. So I'm sorry, it matters to me more what do you do in the NFL opposed to what did you do in college. But for Jim Leonhard, it don't matter what he do in the NFL, it only matter what he did in college. But with Daronte, I'm focusing more on what he's done in the NFL and how he's been able to make these elite secondaries with no name talent, because that's the type of coach that you need. Because you don't have an elite secondary. Even when you rebuild a secondary, you're going to have to get NFL free agents, or you're going to have to rebuild it through the draft. So you need somebody who can develop talent. But that is his con. You know what I'm saying? So he's not flawless. It's not like he has all these years of DC experience. But I do have him over Adam Fuller, even though Adam Fuller had 4 to 5 years of DC experience. Literally developing top NFL talent that is still top NFL talent today in the league. I put Daronte over him because I feel like he's a better fit and match for Shotty. When I'm talking about personality on top of all the things that Shotty wanted, the over complex scheming and simplifying and all of that stuff and communication, it's literally Daronte Jones. There's only one guy that I think is better than Daronte Jones, and I will reveal that guy today, or I'm going to check the chat and see if I should just do it tomorrow, because we've already been in here almost 2 hours. If I go in on this guy, this is going to be a 2 hour, 30-minute show. So some said tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do it tomorrow. All right, bet. All right, baby. So we're gonna do it tomorrow. I will reveal who my number one defensive candidate is tomorrow, because this was already a long as hell show, and I didn't even plan it to be this long. But I basically went an hour in on each candidate. Thought I could do it in 30 minutes, but it did not work. But anyway, thank y'all so much for rocking with me today. Please hit the like button. 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 He said, are we looking for coaches that mirror Shotty? I'm looking for coaches that is what Shotty wants. It's just a perk that Daronte Jones mirror Shotty, Mike, but you don't have to mirror Shotty. You know what I'm saying? It's just a perk of it's really just a perk that they align so well, Mike. That's all I'm saying. But no, you don't have to match Shoddy, because my other DCs, they bring the energy, but they're not actually like a Shoddy match, a perfect match. I just feel like Daronte is damn near a perfect match, really. The only issue is that he does not have years and years of DC experience, but he has years of coordinating, like a pass game coordinator, DB coach. Is like has called plays, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's never had the experience. He said, you want me to say his name? Okay, I will reveal it to y'all. Y'all want me to reveal y'all the name? He's on the thumbnail, so I feel like y'all should know who it is. But where is he at? Yeah, I'll just reveal the name. So my number one is Matt Patricia. And I'm telling you, I didn't come to this. Y'all, I had to do some research. Because when you hear Matt Patricia name, you like, what? Matt Patricia, wasn't he terrible in Detroit? And didn't Darius Slay hate him? And because he's a controversial name, if you will. But I've dug in deep to him. I'm gonna take him off the screen because somebody's gonna try to steal my shit. But anyway, I've dug in deep, and I said there is no one better than this man. Well, other than Brian Flores. But Matt Patricia, I think he's it. He is it, in my opinion. He is. You can't get any better than what this man's got to offer. That's my opinion, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. And I got plenty of clips, got plenty of notes, just like I did for these other two candidates. But anyway, y'all make sure y'all hitting the like button and the share button on your way out. Thank y'all so much for rocking with Stargazer Sports today. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have not subscribed to Stargazer Sports, what are you doing? What are you doing and why? What do I have to do? I'm just being funny, but woo, y'all almost got we two away from 1,000. We two away. Y'all help Star promote this out, please share it to as many people as possible. Y'all, we 2 subscribers away from 1,000. 2. Y'all help Stargazer Sports grow. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. I really, really appreciate y'all. He said, no, save it. I hear you out. Yeah, y'all gotta hear me out. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Like, I got the clips, I got everything. I did not come to this decision because, again, I was like everybody else. When the Eagles hired him 2 years ago, I was like, y'all about to be ass. I'm not lying, y'all. So y'all know I'm being honest with y'all. Cause he wasn't even on my radar. I just started doing my research like I did everybody else. And I said, what? You know what I'm saying? So, but we're going to do a whole show on him. I'm going to do a whole show on him tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, then it'll be, what today is? Today's Tuesday. So if not tomorrow, then it will be Thursday. But I promise I'm going to be doing that doing that this week. I just threw the name out there. Hopefully nobody steal my shit. And then I see people doing shows on him and shit. But y'all know it came from me first. But anyway, thank y'all so much. Please subscribe, like my guy Lou said. Subscribe. We only 2 subscribers away from 1,000. And yeah, thank y'all so much. And I will see y'all soon. And y'all stay if you're a new viewer, stay for the outro video so that y'all can see all my social media. Some of y'all probably already following me on social media, but if you are not, you can stay for the outro video that has all that information. And also, I haven't said it, but y'all, please also, as you see there, please donate to my Cash App so you can continue to help Stargazer Sports, help us upgrade our equipment and our content. So please donate to Stargazer Sports at $ Stargazer Sports on Cash App. Soon we will be able to be monetized, but right now just continue to donate to my Cash App. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night.
perspective, she has 2 3-pointers tonight. She had made 4 total for the season coming into tonight. H.O. Reese